Hello, folks. Thank you for joining us again for an exciting 4th of July week. But today we're doing one, and tomorrow we skip because of his
America.
birthday, right? America's birthday. And so we're going to celebrate tomorrow. But today we still YOMO as normal. So today we're on Reflection 272. And I might like this one. I don't know what it's about, but I like the word procrastination.
This was you would hate this book, True. I mean, hate it. Like I promise you. I know you're good enough to know that this book is not going to be your cup of tea. Maybe I'm wrong, but like I was not a fan of this book. However, that said, the book is called Procrastinate on Purpose: Five Permissions to Multiply Your Time by Rory Vaden. The reflection title is P.V.O.T. I'll explain what that means in a second. So this book is exactly what it says. It's about multiplying your time. It's about productivity and how to organize your life and how to organize your time in order to maximize your wealth generation activities. The procrastinate on purpose portion of it is basically just saying, like, if it doesn't align to what brings you money, then don't do it. And it's okay sometimes to procrastinate. We don't need to get into the actual book itself because I didn't like the book. But that did not mean that's what this journey is about. It's not about loving books or not loving books. It's about spending time with my daughter and learning something new every day. And she actually reminded me of that one in this book. So I actually started this when I first started this book. It was rare. I think there was only, I want to say there's only, I don't think there was a single book that I started on this journey that I didn't finish. Maybe there was one that I'm just not remembering, but like, that was kind of the rule that I gave
Yeah,
myself
I
and
remember
Amelia.
one. I remember one.
What was it?
That made people go surfing. I couldn't take it.
You did,
I'm speaking
yeah,
for me, and
yeah,
not for you. I know you
yeah. No,
finished it.
I definitely finished it. There was two books that I didn't write a reflection for, and that felt pretty mean, honestly. That was this stupid book called The Originals or something like that. It was about Warren Buffett, and I don't even know. It was awful. It was really, really bad. And then the other one was a Sam, not Smith, but Sam. What's the guy, the philosopher dude that wrote the book we did about lying? Sam, Sam, maybe is it Sam Hunt? Does that sound right?
No.
Sam, he's like a philosopher guy. You've mentioned him to me before a couple times. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. That was the other book that I was like, I don't know. I finished it and I was like, I don't even want to write a reflection about this. Like, it just did nothing for me. This one was trending toward that, to be honest with you, where I started it. And the only reason I started this is because
Sam Harris.
Sam Harris, that's who he is. Yeah. The only reason I started this book in particular was because this guy's like a Darren Hardy mentee or something along those lines. And Darren's somebody that I enjoy. So I was like, well, if Darren recommends it, I think he even wrote the foreword or something like that for this book. And I was like, well, if Darren recommends it, maybe it'll be okay. So I decided to give it a chance. I thought the title was provocative. And I was like, I wonder what this is about. We'll see how it goes. Well, I'm about like 20 minutes into this audiobook, and I honestly was about ready to puke. This guy was talking about 30 goals, 30 years in the future, productivity, time management, efficiency, money, investments, all these buzzwords and things that I'm just like, I don't care about this stuff anymore. This might have appealed to my sense of being and who I maybe thought I wanted to be in life. But ever since this whole journey, this is just not who I am. Two different people, but this just wasn't appealing to me at all. So I actually was out cutting the grass when I started this book, and I stopped it about 15 minutes in while I was cutting the grass. It usually takes me like 2 hours to cut the grass, or like an hour and a half at least, just to get some good audible time in on this or whatever. And I was like, I even remember even talking to Amelia. I was like, can we stop this one? This sucks. She was like, Dad, just remember, like, this isn't about necessarily always like in the books, like this is about spending time together. And, I'm sure we'll learn something, but give it a try. And I was like, okay, fine. So I kept powering through because she told me to. And lo and behold, we ended up stumbling upon a few things. I actually somewhat liked the second half of the book, as we got into it a little bit more. But there was this about 15 minutes after I had originally stopped the book, and Amelia and I had a conversation about it where she convinced me to keep going. He finally said something that like actually piqued my interest a little bit. He was talking about his business partner in the haze of all the productivity talk and multiplying your time and blah 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 blah. Like, he was talking about his business partner who has young children, and he was heading off to the office. He was picking him up to head off to the office together at his house, and his young daughter was like, Dad, where are you going? He was like, Dad has to work today. And she was like, no, Dad, no, Daddy, no work today. No work today, Daddy. And he was like, I have to. And she was like crying. And Rory, the author, doesn't have any children, at least as of writing this book, I don't think. And he was like, he had this epiphany where he goes, time management isn't linear or logical. He was like, it's emotional. And I was like, oh, thank God. Maybe we can finally go somewhere with this, because that's all this guy was talking about the entire time was logical and linearity and time management and all these different things. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like that is not life. Finally, when he said that, I at least was like, okay, maybe we could go somewhere with this. And, I appreciated Amelia keeping us on course. And so we kept plugging through. Well, as we got further and further into the book, Rory starts talking about this thing that he calls his primary measurement tool of his time, which he calls M.V.O.T, which is money value of time. And to him, what M.V.O.T means is it's a key indicator of how he values the activities that he chooses to do or not to do. And the way that he calculates his money value of time is he says everybody has an hourly wage. You either are paying yourself to do something or you're paying somebody else to do it. So if the activity you're doing isn't worth an hourly wage, he was like, to get somebody else to do it because basically you're paying yourself less money than you're worth. Basically, that's how he decides to do his actions, whether or not his personal time value is worth it or not. Right? Does that make sense? I guess from his perspective as to his money value of time. Well, that doesn't exactly align to anything that I care about, but it got me thinking for some weird reason, which is the whole point of all this stuff. Like Amelia and I were out cutting the grass, and I'm thinking, I'm like, well, how would I was like, it's an interesting concept, but I was like, how would I tweak this for like, my own, use and our own use as to what we're doing? And it kind of hit me as I was cutting the grass that I was like, it's like, what if we call it a purpose value of time? I was like, that's something I can get behind. Meaning, like, the way that I decide what I do or don't do these days is this on purpose or not? Because really, no matter what, every action you do, in my opinion, is serving a purpose. It's either serving your purpose or it's serving somebody else's purpose. So if I'm going to perform an action, that's what humans do. If I'm going to be performing actions, I was like, does this action each day, align to my purpose or to somebody else's purpose? And that's where the idea where I thought of would be a good way to reframe this to be like purpose value of time. So, it's a way for you to measure how you are spending your own time together in a different non-linear logical way, because like it makes me want to barf thinking about making goals 30 years in the future at this point in time. Like nothing's promised for today or tomorrow or even yesterday or 30 years in the future. I have no fucking idea what we're going to be doing or what we're going to be talking about or how life is going to be going. But I do know what I can do today. And that's the actions that I, control, and whether they're on purpose for me or on purpose for somebody else, So that's how I reframed this and got to salvage some lessons out of this with my daughter. We learned a little bit and enjoyed the second half of the book and came up with the idea of P.V.O.T, so purpose value of time. Love to get your thoughts as to what do you think about this whole thing.
I mean, I agree. It's just that I think this is more of a more technical explanations of what we mean when we say prioritize your values. Like you say, hey, you have an hour today. Do you want to go run or you want to play tennis? Right? Well, which one you like more? You have a cake or a brownie? Which one you like more? Just eat them. I say, just pick the one you want, because hey, if you can only squeeze in one, right? A chocolate cake or vanilla cake, right? Which one you want more?
Right.
I mean, to me, that's essentially the technical explanation of what the book's trying to say. And so, I mean, I don't think that's anything that we need to elaborate on.
It
It's because
is.
I think it's making it more complicated than it needs to be.
Right. I agree.
It shouldn't, because like you can ask me, hey, True, can you do this or can you do something like whatever is your most important value, as long as you know your values.
Right.
This thing becomes natural. You know what is valuable to you, right? The only time when you have to go through this formula is you did not decide what it is important to you. For me, like the purpose value is instinctively understood. Maybe you don't understand what money is about or which money is better than other money. Is money. You want to optimize and maximize the amount of money per second or per hour, whatever it is. So basically, to me, it's very logical because I'm a logical guy. So to me, it's very logical. I don't think anything new about this formula, but I think making this formula is actually making it more complicated than it needs to be.
I agree. So the idea of M.V.O.T, in my opinion, is so flawed, beyond flawed, because like you can make money doing a lot of things in this world. And you could say that I'm worth XYZ doing whatever, but that doesn't mean you like doing what you're doing. Like
that's what I'm saying is you and I can make $1 million in the next 30 minutes or next hour. Do I want to take the risk? Do I want to take the risk to go to jail? Now that's the thing is you can't just go and every fucking thing.
That's why it was like my brain was like, oh God, I can't do with this. Like I can't be thinking about my M.V.O.T for 30 years out.
Let's say, and a lot of times this is not. Let's say you want to volunteer to be a guinea pig for some kind of experiment, right? They probably pay you a lot, but do you want to volunteer to be? The problem is, what are you getting out of return? Stand in front of an officer, you can be my bridge, right? So I can walk over and I'll pay you a lot of money. That's still a job. Only take a second. I just need to walk over your head for a second. Think about that. The thing is, the MVOT in that case makes no sense. It's not linear. It's not logical because you don't live in the world of logic. You live in the world of people. People are filled with emotion. We live in a wicked environment versus the kind of environment we're talking about, which our world is
Money.
not measure this wicked environment, this complex dynamic environment, right? It doesn't even make sense. If you understand the two different environments that you're not talking about, the kind environment and the wicked environment, dynamic environment, then you know that doesn't make sense to go take a ruler from one world and use it to measure something else.
Right.
That's the biggest flaw I've seen. And so to me, is
like we try to be so linear. All these productivity experts and time management experts and whatever money management experts. It's almost like comical because with P.V.O.T, in my opinion, this is an invaluable time. I think that you and I would both agree that we invest in each night of our activities, not only just the time that we're talking to each other, but the time that for instance, that I spend prepping, reading this book and writing the reflection, whatever it may be, right? Like all that for me is highly valuable P.V.O.T, but I make zero money off of that. I'm not trying to make money off of it. If we do make money off it someday, fine, whatever. I mean, I don't
but it
really
doesn't
care,
matter.
but
But
like,
if you think about it, what am I doing with money?
nothing.
What
Like,
I'm doing is I am going to trade the money in
right, to do what you want to do.
make me feel good. So if
Right.
I'm already feel good, why do I need to trade money to buy back the feel good? You think about it. What's the ultimate like end thing that you want to receive? It's the feeling of feeling good, right? It's a feeling of satisfaction or whatever, fulfill whatever, right? So the thing is, money isn't the end that you need. Money is a transition.
Right.
So I'm not saying that you don't need money. I said, yeah, you need money, but money, it is so that you can do. It's like I'm going to hustle and bustle so I can get the money, so I can do this. Nobody say, oh, so I can make $1 million. No, you don't want to say, I don't want a fucking $1 million if I can't spend it all. Think about it. If I'm gonna pay you $1 trillion, a gazillion dollar, Chris, but you can't spend any of it. You can't exchange it for anything.
It's worth it. I mean, it's
worthless.
I mean,
it's worthless. So the only thing you want as a human being is what you can get for yourself that makes you feel good. So when you are doing the YOMO, when you're doing the podcast, when you're doing the learning, you already get the end result. Why are you getting the money to trade in? Because the thing is, if you give me money, the only thing I'm going to do with the money is I'm going to trade that money in for a thing that matters to me. Right?
I mean,
or you can go directly, you can get the thing that matters to you.
Agreed. And like he talks about multiplying your time in this whole entire book too. Like, I don't want to multiply my time. I just want to enjoy my time. Like, I want my time that I consume.
But to me, it doesn't make sense.
You can multiply your time, meaning if you only do the things that you could do, and then you have other people do other
you
stuff.
Multiply the value of money, not the value of your time. You cannot multiply anything.
Exactly. This is why I was like,
it's illogical from the start. So even if you want to appeal to me as a logician, it doesn't.
Right. Not only does it not appeal to me as a logical argument, it doesn't even. It's so far away from, like, this is the most left brain conversation already. I mean, we've said the word time management, productivity, money management, blah 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 blah. It's like, for me, like I said at the beginning of this reflection, I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like, I don't care anymore. Like, I mean, like I say this lovingly, knowing that I can't disconnect from this world, the left brain world, I guess, that we live in, and say like, oh, I'm just gonna like go do whatever I want to do all the time. Like, I understand, like, I still have to, like you said, make money to exchange it for things that I want to do. So I can't always. Ideally, you make money doing stuff you love to do.
That you can, because whatever you do naturally has a value to somebody. Okay, because like I say, if you love to go fishing, okay, that's what you do. When people say, hey, when I have free time, I spend my money to go fishing, right? You love to go fishing. Your knowledge of fishing is valuable to somebody. Hey, I'm a tourist. I want to go experience how to fish. Okay, take me to a spot where you know where fishes are. Or I know how to fish, right? And when the ecosystem needs my help, I'm going to say, well, if you do this, this fish will do this. This is their behavior.
Yep.
Whatever you do, whoever you do, there is a value. You're talking about a beaver. Think about a beaver. A beaver must it does its purpose. But do you think a beaver has a value? What a beaver do that has value? All I do is to stop the
brings water to all the community around them.
Only when you remove the beaver ecosystem, you feel the impact and the devastation of the results.
Right. Now that
So
beaver
like,
could have been going, well, I can make way more money over here, True, if I just like chop down all the wood and then sold it to somebody else. Like,
exactly,
which
but
is
that's
kind of
my
what he's
point.
arguing.
That's my point. It's not about the thing is as long as you doing the things you want, any actions that you do has a value to someone. It's not about everyone, it's someone. I guarantee that that is what I truly believe, and I have never have able to invalidate that. Whatever you do, it has some value to someone. I'm not
Agreed.
saying everyone, a majority of people, but so to someone.
It's
And
the
that's
long
the
tail.
key.
It's the long tail of values. You have the fat head of values, which you get at nation state levels and corporate levels, and these superstar values of whatever Hollywood or just our broader culture. But then you have the long tail of values where each one of us, like, it never goes to zero. We all should have some value that we can participate in the world. The more that you do what you're supposed to do, express yourself in the way that you're
The
supposed
more
to express
value,
yourself.
because the thing
Exactly.
is, if you spend 100% of doing what you do, your value you bring for the cost, right?
Man,
But the
yeah,
cost is, I mean, you minimize so much of cost, and the value to cost is so high because you are so damn good at what you do. You think about it. When you're so damn good at what you do, you reduce the cost, the time, and the cost to bring out the full value, right? It's like you minimize all of the negative and you maximize the positive. When you do things that, because you have born with an innate ability for that particular thing.
right.
Like I said, a beaver has this, waterproof pelt with this, paddle tail. It's suitable for him to swim in there all day without, even making it sweat. And that's
Right.
the thing, is his comparative advantage. His advantage will bring the maximum value with the least cost to produce it.
Humans can't do
Value.
it as good. I mean,
Exactly. But
we're
like I
builders
said,
too.
we're builders too, but I'm saying is, let's say the beaver don't use the advantage that he has to build the thing he is drawn to. He's going to be drawn to build it anyway, so he's getting the reward already
Right.
without need exchange for money to get to go and spend him on reward, right? Just like, hey, let's say I'm give you points, right? To you, points doesn't mean shit until you say, hey, I'm going to exchange the points. The points doesn't
Right.
mean anything.
The same as money. I mean, it's just another way of,
But
like
the
you
thing
said,
is,
exchanging value.
But the thing is, if you end at the point, let's say you have frequent flyer miles, whatever, and you rack them all these points, but the points is the end. There's nothing else beyond points.
Right.
Would you want it?
Of
That's the
course
thing.
not.
No, I have a million points. That means I can fly something. I mean, you always thinking about the transition to the thing you want, not like, oh,
Right.
I have a million points. That doesn't bring you joy. The thing you can get with the points is what brings you joy, don't you think?
Right. Oh,
Right?
100%. I mean, it's like the more that we're broaching this topic and reminding myself of all this stuff. Do you remember when I told you that story of, like, if you buy a cup of coffee today and, if you do the compound interest of paying for that cup of coffee today, in 30 years, it's worth, like, whatever. That $5 cup of coffee is compounded in the next 30 years at normal interest rates is like $55 or something like that, or whatever it equates to. You're actually bringing a $55 cup of coffee, right? Like, this is the book that I heard that in, and I was like, man,
Oh, really?
if you walk around every single day,
Why don't you just wait until you're 90 to do anything?
Jesus Christ, if I had to sit there and calculate in my head what the money value of every action was that I did every single day, like I would be just exhausted. Like, I would be like, well, should I eat this marshmallow? Because if I do, it costs 29 cents today, so that's actually $60 in 60 years when I retire. So I really should hold off on spending money. Like, none of the decision making of whether you like coffee or are you going to go meet somebody right now to go have a conversation about helping them with, I don't know, overcome their addiction to alcohol or something like that, and you're trying to, like, that's what your life's calling is. Like, I don't give a shit how much the coffee is at that point in time. Like, I'm buying a cup of coffee because I'm going to help somebody, and that's what they wanted to do because they're trying to fight addiction every single day or something.
See, in the wicked world that we live in, nothing is linear, right? Nothing's linear.
Right.
So
Nothing is.
you cannot say, okay, I'm gonna wait until the last day. I'm gonna have so much money. I have to rack up all of these points. What the fuck can you do with it if you can't trade in? Even you have $1 trillion, I know last fucking day on earth.
Right.
You maximize it. You maximize M.V.O.T. Then what? You have
Cool.
a lot of money. Then what?
Right. Cool.
But you can't spend it because you're gonna die the next day. If I give you $1 billion right now, but you're gonna die tomorrow, would you take it? Of course not. You can't spend it.
Right.
It's just a number. So that, like I said, it makes no sense.
It makes sense in this guy's world, clearly, because he wrote a book called, Multiply Your Time, Procrastinate on Purpose, and about,
I think that's just stupid. I mean, that's you're using some.
I don't want to say it's stupid because I'm not going to judge people's.
I will.
That's fine. I'm saying I don't want to judge this person's way that they interpret this world. All I'm saying is, like,
no. Look, if you write
a
book and you try to put yourself out there, it's fair game. Because the thing is, I have nothing against you, but I have things against you because you are leading people to the wrong directions. Okay.
Well,
because you say
we're leading to people,
but the thing is, that is a possibility. Right. So for me, it's like I want to be on the opposite side of this guy. Say, well, consider the possibility that somebody follows your rule. If you think it aligns with you, great. I'm not going to stop you from doing it, but I want to give you the other side of it. And to me, if he goes out there and proposes a solution, and I don't say anything, right? I'm actually acquiescing and let people think that I don't think it's a bad idea. They prefer, hey, most people say it's good and nobody says it's bad, therefore it gotta be good. Right. So I'm actually, an accomplice to him derailing somebody's future.
Well, what if we enhanced it? And we said, okay, fine, take your M.V.O.T. and we'll take our P.V.O.T. and we'll put it together and say, look, if you don't, maybe the rule is, don't spend money on stuff that you don't value. Spend money on whatever you value. Spend as much as you want, like all day, every day. I don't care. Go bankrupt spending on stuff that you care about because it'll align to your purpose and it'll help to maximize your purpose value of time as well because you're investing in something that you really, really care about. If you're only looking at money from a transactional perspective of maximizing value for money's sake, and you're not looking at the actual actions that you're doing, and you're
but not... you say, money, right, is your goal. But I'm saying money isn't your goal because
I'm not saying money is the goal. I'm saying combine it together with purpose value and money value, saying, okay, great, only spend money on things that are aligned to your value, to your unique values and purpose, right?
I disagree. I think it's not bad, but it's not good because I don't think you need to focus on money at all. If you focus on your value, money will come to you. Because let's say you love to skydive and do deep sea diving. You love it so much and you do it every day. Okay? You love it so much because you are world class at it. You are the best deep sea diver, anyone would know. When somebody found a treasure, right? Who they gonna call? They ain't gonna call no amateur. They're gonna call the guy who does it every fucking day. That fortune. They're gonna say, hey, I'm gonna give you half, you go find it for me. The thing is, when you're good at something, you're world class at something, money comes to you very easily.
So that's a great example. Great point, and a great example is I told you about one of my teammates, the team that I lead, his girlfriend. He sees what he's been doing every single day and loves it. And he had her reach out to me because she needed some guidance, right? And I'm able to guide her pretty easily because I want to, number one. But number two, the stuff that we've already been doing, she already sees the value. She's like, help me. She would probably pay for it if I asked her to. I don't care. I said I'll do it for free.
I mean, people are charging $300 to go listen to you. Yeah, you need time for yourself. Blah blah. This is called psychologists, right? You go, exactly. You go and you get a fucking degree, and that's what you do. Mm-hmm. And we are basically getting it for free. I mean, as a matter of fact, we actually trying to, mentor one of Sean's people, and he said, this is what I pay my psychologist to do. Say, well, you pay them, this is free. Say, what the fuck do you complain about?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying is, money is only an IOU for your expertise, for your value. So when you are doing something so good, for example, if you are you love to climb mountains.
Oh yeah, he's a rock climber.
So do you want him to go and fetch you? Yeah, of course. He's gonna pay a bunch of money for it, right?
Or if you're just looking to blaze a new path up a mountain, and you're like, I don't know where to go. I'm sure Alex will figure it out.
Alex Hunter, right? So when you're good at something, and people see you doing that, and people do, because the thing is, everyone knows about Alakano, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because people say, well, and when they need him for that specific purpose, they're gonna pay him a lot of money.
Yeah.
And to me, money isn't gonna be an expense in that kind of level of expertise. Because the thing is, how much do you value some life? How much when you do something no one can do, how do you evaluate that? How do you put a value to it? How do
You
you put a
don't. It's
number
art.
to it?
It's art. What
It
Alex
is
Honnold does
so
is art.
right.
Right. That's the problem with looking at things from a money perspective. It's discounting art. It's discounting people bringing to life their self, their unique core centers, and bringing that into this world.
Because Alex gotta make every time he climbs the rocks.
You're right.
He's
Yeah.
negative. So basically, if he used the MBOT, he would never become the fucking world-class diver. And that's why I am
No.
pissed, right? I'm not, the thing is, I'm pissed because you're telling people not to become what they want to be, which is, at the end of the day, if I were to work hard to make money, to have this, so what do I do with it? Oh, I can take this $1 trillion,
Right.
go live in a fishing village and go dive later, right? You think about it, you know me about and the Mexican fishing story, right? That's the point, right? To me, you are dislodging me, you're distracting me. That's all you do. Is you are the fucking devil in this.
Make sure. So the time value of money is the concept that money is worth more in the present than in the future due to its potential earning capacity. That's what the time value of money is. When he says, well, what is the money value of time? The money value of time is a phrase that I use to demonstrate the theoretical concept that there's a cost to participating in any activity. Every person who earns an income has some hourly wage, regardless of whether you're paid a salary, straight commission, profit, bonuses, or any other type of compensation plan. We all have an hourly wage. Take a person's annual income and divide it by the number of hours they work, and that's your hourly rate.
You're earning per second, right? That's essentially, logically, at the end of the day, is how much money can you make per second? When you play tennis, how much money you make per second?
Yeah, like
that's
that's actually not true. I was just before this. I was teaching my cousin tennis, and my aunt trusts me. She knows I'm a good tennis player. She knows, I can help coach her.
But how long have you been playing tennis?
A long time.
If you follow the concept of MVOT, you will never become this great tennis player that people are going to say, hey, Chris, you're a good player. Can you
teach me how to play tennis?
No one's going to fucking ask you because you ain't shit.
Exactly.
Hey, there's value in this guy.
The fun part about our little exchanges is I could teach tennis easily if I wanted to. I could go make money teaching it, but I don't want to do that because I just like playing tennis or competing, and that's my values that I get to bring out.
Right. So you tennis, and the MVOT is high, but you'd rather not because it doesn't.
Exactly. My aunt, though, but you know why I do this for my cousin? A, because I want to see her get better, but there's a specific reason. My aunt loves my son Luca. And she loves taking care of him and watching him. If my wife and I want to go on a date, or he stayed overnight with her on Saturday because we had to go to this Dave Matthews Band concert for one of my friends' 40th birthday parties or something like that. She loves to help. She just loves to help, right? So I was like, look, I feel bad taking advantage of your kindness, even though you love hanging out with my children, and I mean, she truly does.
For work, man.
But this is our value exchange. She spends a shitload of money for her daughter's private coaching, that I'm probably a better coach than those people. As a matter of fact, when I was working with my cousin for the past 2 years, she started playing more competitive matches. She's just graduated 8th grade. So she's finally playing more and more competitive matches. And with me coaching her, mentoring her, and helping to get her strategic mind going and doing a lot of stuff that we're doing, she won her first 2 tournaments that she played in. But when she gets on the court with me, and I'm like, you don't know how to play tennis. Nobody ever taught you how to play tennis. They just taught you how to hit shots, I'm like, that's not tennis. That's just how to hit shots. Anybody can look good, on the driving range.
I know the words to the English language, but does not make me a fucking, prize
English
author.
Professor. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right? I can put out a sentence together. Whatever sentence you can put in, I can put out the same sentence. But why I'm not the fucking #1 best-selling author? Because I can't. So it's just you saying is, you can teach the girl the mechanics, but then how to play tennis is an art. And you can't say, I'm gonna put the word together in a certain way. Anybody can make music, and they would say, hey, play this note, play that note. But for you to put together a symphony, require a maestro, right?
Yep.
That's what I'm saying is, to be a prize author, you need to command the word in a certain pattern, in a certain sequence. right?
And MBOT would not get you there. No way in hell.
MBOT will not get you there. Just like for example, for me coding, like for the most part, people say, hey, lines of code per whatever. The more lines of code, the better. For me, say the less the better. So the thing MBOT doesn't work here. My function, when you put input into it, it's gonna morph the thing into whatever it needs. So the thing is, you write more lines of code. I go there, like I can take like 3 pages of code and then I can slash it into one, right? And so the thing is, which is better, which is cleaner, which is more flexible and more versatile? The MBOT in our world does not work. It's not linear. It cannot be linear.
It's not right brained at all. There is no such thing as MBOT in the right brain. If we're looking for balance, this is tipping the scales all the way to that end. If you really want to go the MBOT route or whatever, like this is not bringing in a balanced solution to life. I couldn't agree more with you. You understand why in the first 15 minutes I was like, oh God, I can't do this. I was like, Amelia, I'm trying. And she was like, just chill out. But I'm like, okay. The good news is the point of this journey has always been to learn, spend time with my daughter, get into that flow state, whatever. And that's fine because that's when I can feel her energy. I feel like I'm doing my purpose.
It doesn't matter what you read. It's about the conversation you have with your daughter. I think that makes it
the purpose value of time is worth it. Right.
But like I said, I'm very straightforward. If I don't like it, I don't like it. I'm not a people person.
Right.
Can I be wrong? Yeah, I'm wrong most of the time. But in this case, you hear both sides. This guy's doing this. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm dumb. So be it. But the thing is, just to have the other side of the opinion, right? To say, well, maybe MVOT isn't what you want. Because I don't understand. Because if I get the MVOT and I accumulate this bunch of money, but the thing is, spending
I did a bunch of shit that I didn't want to do.
Yeah, that's why I say, the concept of rise, grind, and repeat doesn't, why am I doing it? Because
if it's really valuable money-wise,
I can bring money in other places where I really like it, right? Because then you think about it, like you're gonna spend the time doing some shit that you don't like, right? And it pays you some money, and then you're gonna spend some time doing things that you like, but then it also brings you money, and to me, the long tail of it is gonna actually bring you in more money. And so the thing is, when you look at it in that fashion, like who is in any logical sense, somebody who has an iota of a brain cell say, well, I'm going to choose this, eating a frog and chasing the whatever and getting smaller amount of money than a guy who loves what he do and makes even more money. I mean, if you had a choice, even a monkey knows how to choose. Right. So to me, don't you think that's kind of stupid? If you see the information, I'm saying is when you don't see the information, this is when you make the error. But when you see the information, I don't think anyone's going to make the error. What's the point of having the money if you can't spend it? If you cannot trade it in for something? The point is, what do you want as a person? As a person, you don't really care about the money.
This is what I was getting at, the combo of the two. If you happen to be doing stuff that you really, really love that is on purpose for you, then I'm okay with MVOT as a concept. If you're only doing something for MVOT as then I'm like, this is such a flawed metric, beyond flawed. But like it all kind of aligns when you're doing what you love for the reasons.
The MVOT is the P.V.O.T. Right. The P.V.O.T. right? The MVOT, it becomes like, well, it's a given.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So it doesn't bring any. Right. It isn't the P.V.O.T. So basically, you have extra. Like in math, you know how you have the extra thing. You say, hey, you can simplify it, right? So you
just get rid of that
complicating thing by putting in the MVOT just for the sake of this author's book, right? P.V.O.T. right? Prioritize your purpose. Like what? Like I say, chocolate cake, vanilla cake. If you like chocolate, eat chocolate. If you like ice cream, eat ice cream.
Right.
Like when that's to me to simplify. Hey, what it is you want to do, and the more you're good at it, but like people are like, I mean, you're talking about like a lot of things. People say, hey, I can't make a career out of it. Let's say people love to drink wine. You know about the wine, what you call it, something about the.
Right.
Yeah, coke dog. Remember
the sommeliers?
Yeah. The guy likes to drink wine, like to taste wine, right? He makes a career out of it. You think about it. Right. Anything you do, as long as you're good, I think it's not about good because, like I say, when I do something that aligns with my value. I don't really care about being good, and that what makes me world class.
You just want to care if you like it. Like Andre Agassi was really, really good at tennis, and he hated what he did.
Effort,
P.V.O.T.
but when you become world class at no expense, right?
Yes,
that's because you
that's
don't
the
really
holy
care.
grail.
Because people come and say, "Hey, True, you're so good at doing this," and say, "Well, I don't really do much. Like I just
do what I do.
I just am. I just am.
Yeah.
I just am. I just naturally. This is the way I am. It's like this take you a lot of effort. No, not really. So same thing with the scuba diver, right? The deep sea diver. He's like, well, I know exactly where things are. I know how to current. I know the change of the temperature. I know all the fish and where they would behave. It's like I know everything, right? And so for me, it's like I'm a pretty fucking fish that go like just navigate through the water like I was born in it. You think about it. For him, his chance of finding a treasure is great, right? His chance of getting out is great, right? So it's actually win-win for everybody because if the guy who found the treasure hires some amateur, right? It takes it that guy longer. He can't probably bring it back, right? He probably lose opportunity time. He probably get something stolen or probably get killed or whatever, right? But you hire this guy, everything goes smoothly. You don't pay the guy for an hourly. You pay the guy for the results. Because you say, well, if I hire some fucking amateur, it'll take him a year, right? By the time the treasure it gets something wrong with it, or somebody found it first, someone took it, or he gets into trouble or whatever, and he fails so many missions. You pick this world class. You go in there in a week and say, hey, I found it. This is what it is because I've been everywhere. This is the only place I've been based on your information of where you have this treasure, right? You guys understand because that's who is better at him to bring value to the guy who started. So for me, the guy who hired this world class, it's a win for him. It's also a win for the world class diver. Right? You think about it
everybody gains. It's the beaver, ponds, Now the beaver did his thing, the deer and all the other animals have somewhere to drink, the flowers can grow, then the foxes and the wolves can come down and hunt because there's other animals that are there. I mean, then the grasses come and like you said, once there's a reflection.
The downwind impact, it is so magnitudely like huge. It's like massive. A compound effect. It's massive.
I have a reflection in the future that's one of the Michael Pollan books, Omnivore's Dilemma, on this journey that says that, there is such thing as a free lunch. And that's it, right? Like that is a free lunch because people doing what they do well, like other people get to benefit from it. And it is free.
Because you minimize so much of the cost to bring the value. Let's say you bring in 10 times, 100 times the value of the cost. That means that you are actually generating something from a little thing. You kind of leverage it. When you have 100x of something, the other result can be shared by other people.
I don't need all this books and knowledge in my head anymore. I need to share it with other people. I need to mentor.
Exactly.
What's the point of having all this knowledge that Amelia and I have accrued if it was just shared between the two of us? I can sit there and have a conversation with her or anybody that we've ever mentored in this whole thing and be like, oh, you know what you should read? Just listening to them, be like, you should check out this book and this book and this book, or something along those lines. And then they come back and like, oh, wow. And then they have a conversation about it. And then they're interested and they're piqued. And, all of a sudden we continue to go on and on and on. Like, and it's like I have this like little library in my head right now of all these different experiences, my own memory palace where I can go pull from them to help people, like otherwise what's the fucking point? But at the same time, like, I mean, I'm not saying I've read more books than anybody in this fucking world, but I mean, like, it's, between you and I and this journey, the stuff that we talked about, everything else, like, it's
not about reading the number of books either. Learn from it.
Exactly. I have a lot of lessons that I've learned, that I've lived, that I've explored, that you and I have talked about, that we do on this show, whatever, like that I can then go deploy as I listen and try to help other people and be a guide to their journeys, right? This memory palace can be of very big value for a lot of people. That's why we do this podcast, right? It helps us and it helps other people at the same time, and it's also helping us to refine our own knowledge and helping us to understand more about what we want to do. But the amount of time that we've invested into all this stuff is immense. I honestly, sometimes it's hard for me
to me, it's not investing. I'm spending it to
consuming. Yeah.
I'm consuming time because I'm actually trading in for what I want, right? Exactly. It brings me this positive feeling. To me, it's like, I don't think it as, hey, I'm putting in some sacrifice. Right? Like, no, it's like, you're inviting me to eat cake. It's like, okay.
Let's eat cake together. Like, why would if you had a best friend that was, a world-renowned pastry chef, you'd be like, and they wanted you to come over to try out their new stuff, you'd be like, yeah, I think I will, like, and then you want to
No,
talk to me about
I have to sacrifice my time to go
Right.
and taste this, delicious, cake, pastries, and whatever that this guy dish out. It's like, that's work. No, is it?
No,
It
it's
depends
not.
on. That's what I'm saying is, I don't think about this as an investment, because investment signifies you have to put in some kind of sacrifice. And for
Right.
me, it's not a sacrifice. And so that
There's no
means that
there's no risk. There's no
that
risk
means
involved.
before I even realize that I'm still on the journey. I don't even count the days that I'm on a journey, right? So I don't even know how long we have been doing this, and I don't really care,
I
right?
think
Because I'm not
272.
investing, right? But I'm not investing. Even the numbers, I have to come
I know, yeah.
every single time I go on here. I have to look at it and say where we are. I actually forget about the number. I have to go look. Oh, we did this book yesterday. That's the only reason I remember the number. Otherwise, I don't remember. And that's the point. The point is that who can be better better than us in doing this thing? Because if you think that you had to put some kind of effort into it, right? That means that you can never outlast us. Because you think about it, if you say, hey, your wife say, hey, Chris, go do laundry or go play tennis, which one you go? You say, hey, I'll do laundry if you let me play.
Right, exactly. It's not even a question. I mean, like I've told you, my shoulder's fucking killing me. I was playing with my little cousin today, and I could barely fucking hit a forehand to her. I'm the one that's supposed to be teaching her. I'm over there struggling, but I'm like, I don't care. I like teaching. It's fine. I'll figure it out. It'll be all right. I'm gonna go ice my shoulder right now before I go to bed, just because it's really hurting a lot today for some weird reason. But yeah, no, I agree. I think we can probably put a cap on this one, because I don't even want to talk about this book anymore, because this book wasn't a book that I didn't even enjoy like at all anyway. But I think this has been a fun conversation. And if Rory Vaden is ever out there watching this, I don't want to I just want to put a caveat out there. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts in this world. I don't want you to think
But don't say the wrong thing.
that's true.
Yes, if you want to come up to me, I'm happy to face you. Come to me. Tell me I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
That is one of our core values, is we don't know anything. So, but either way, no, I really do appreciate you sharing your thoughts. But the question we can leave for everybody is, are you leveraging your precious time to serve your purpose or someone else's, and which would you prefer? So I think that's a really important lesson for life, is you're always serving somebody, so you might as well serve yourself, and your own purpose. So thanks for joining, and we are on a hiatus tomorrow night, and we'll see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, have a happy 4th. See ya.
You too.